What is going on, everybody? We are here. We are chilling. We are getting ready for the second wave of Blackout the System. So we've got a No King's Day coming up in a few weeks, October 18th. They are doing a blackout too. And the blackout is a way that we can all come together and push back. Because essentially, things are screwed up right now, right? Things are tough, things are difficult, and we have to do something. Well, the first thing that we have to do is create the we, right? That's really what is the most difficult part about this is that even if we can agree that there's an issue, it's where to start and how to do it. And we've really just got to learn to get on the same page. And that's what these blackout the systems are all about. They are basically a way that all of us can learn to get on because our strength is in our unity. Our strength is in our single mind. It is difficult when you're going up against a big power that to do it alone, basically. My joke that I always make is whenever you see the scary movies and the group of kids has to go into the haunted house, they're always scared to go alone, right? But it's only when they go with a group of friends that they're no longer fearful. And that's sort of what we talk about, where the first two phases of this are break the silence to break the fear, because everybody feels like something is wrong. We just don't have like a super easy way to push back against it and fight back right now. And that's where I think if everybody had an easy way, where if it was like, if we all knew like break glass in case of emergency, I think we'd all be breaking that glass right now. I think just the difficult part is basically knowing what to do, knowing that you won't be the only one. That's one of the most important parts, right? Because it's like, dang, well, I think I need to go do this, but will I be the only one speaking out if I do it? Am I going to be the only, am I going to look crazy because nobody else is ready to speak out yet? And I think that's the point that we're all kind of feeling, right? It's like all of us are looking around and we're like, are we going to speak out soon? Are we going to start getting on the same page about this? Because that's the biggest issue. Absolutely, Lisa. But we even have to understand that it goes further than that. That even, if whatever happens with this administration, that what is currently happening is a symptom of a disease that's been going on in our country for a very long time. Because greed is the disease. All of this, that is awesome, Lizzie. All of this comes down to greedy corporations and career politicians all giving in to their human nature of wanting more and more and more. That's why we don't call them the billionaires. We call them the hoarders. Because just like what AOC said the other day, make fun of them. That's what this is about. It's about inciting a culture shift to show people that the lies that they have been telling us are ridiculous and laughable. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to laugh at it because it's not left versus right. It's up versus down. We all see that now. And it's only when they had a majority of us fooled that they thought that they could go ahead and do what they've been doing. But they are pushing too hard, too fast. They are making people open their eyes and say, what the heck is going on? Because if there's one thing that we've been taught to love, it's our freedom. It's our like individualism. And as soon as they started stupidly going after all of that, I think that's when all of us were looking around and we're just waiting, right? We're just waiting to do something and say, let's do this, because that's what we're kind of all like looking around like, I'm ready. Are you ready? And that's where all these mass actions, we've had like just 4 or 5 more groups in the past few days say, look, we need to bring together all the groups because that's really the only thing that it is. And that's why we call it a civic force. It's 1,000 movements that all know this is the moment to come together, to push back, because greed is the disease and community is the opposite of greed. That is the truth, y'all. That is the truth. Community is the opposite of greed. So that is what we are doing. That is what we are creating. because the first thing we have to do is get together. That's where everybody asks, what do we do? Well, first we need to create a we, because they have been dividing us and pulling us apart for decades. They have made it so that we are out of time, money, and energy to even think about these problems, let alone deal with them. And so that's where we are coming together. We're building this community. What's the community for? It's to get people to recognize that greed is the issue. So recognize that greed is the issue, reorganize their life around that idea, and recruit others. That's it. You don't even need to change your life drastically if you can't. Just reorganize your life the best that you can. Make decisions away from corporations and towards localism. That's what this is. We're localists. We just want to keep things local. We think that this corporate system has not only taken away our community and our creativity, but even the most basic stuff like our security. That's what all this is about. We don't have any money, and money doesn't buy happiness, but it sure as damn hell makes sure that you don't have unhappiness, right? Because money buys housing, money buys healthcare, money buys food, and the people up top, the greedy corporations and the career politicians, took all of the money. So we are coming together and we are saying, look, that is not the way society works. We did not all come together so that all of us could work hard so that 1% of Americans can scrape by while the rest of us can't afford housing, while the rest of us can barely afford food. It's so crazy. Why are there so many successful companies, so many successful corporations, but we're not seeing a lot of successful employees? Over 80% of Americans don't have a couple $1,000s in their emergency fund. So what happens when the majority of people don't have enough for an emergency? Because emergencies happen, y'all. And that's exactly what is going on, is that over 80% of people, 208 million people, don't have enough savings for a medical injury. That's why medical debt, yeah, right, happened. That's why medical debt is the number one reason for bankruptcy in our country. They make us all rely on cars, but a couple $1,000 car repair is nothing. And not many of us have that. So when the majority of us don't have any savings, what happens when there's an emergency? We all end up paying for it. So the billionaires pay us so little that we don't have enough money for food and housing. And then when that inevitable emergency happens, we all end up paying for it. So the billionaires are literally using the public good to stuff their pockets. They are taking advantage of our kindness, of our love for our fellow humans, and saying, screw you all. I'm going to pay my employees so little that they can't afford health care. And when they have to go on medical assistance, you all are going to pay for it. And that's been the issue in our country. And not only that, if we don't have any money, we call it living paycheck to paycheck. But what it really is we're one step away from financial ruin. One step away. So many of us know that if this one little thing happens, we can't afford our housing next month. If this one little thing happens, we can't afford our food next month. And so we don't have any security. And if we don't have any security, we're living in fear. Why do you think it was so easy for MAGA to go over to the other side and take that fear into anger, into hate? Because that fear was already there, because that pain was already there. They just pointed the finger down instead of up. That's literally all that happened. Trump took the exact same anger that all of us feel. And now 9-10 years later, that anger is still there because we've only been told to point the fingers left or right, black or white. When the real problem are the greedy corporations. Because here's the thing. If you are not getting paid what you're worth at your job, we want you to be able to go and find another job. But Does everybody remember what a company town is, where one boss owns everything in the company? That's essentially what our country has turned into. Because it used to be we had a free market. We had competition. We had mom and pop shops. I'm almost 40, and I think I've seen one general store in my life. Certainly not one that could compete with with Target and Walmart. And then add to that the local stores that I have barely see around anymore are I barely see any local grocery stores. I barely see any local hardware stores. I barely see any local pharmacies, local newspapers, goodbye, local doctor's office, see ya. None of them are there anymore. And you can't tell me that it's a coincidence that Americans under 40 are the first generation in American history to be worse off than our parents. Those two things are related because when we get treated poorly at our job, it used to be we could go and get another job because there was local businesses that thrived, that were looking for people who cared. But right now, we don't have a free market. Over 85% of corporations on the S&P 500 have the same three top shareholders. So we don't have a free market. That is awesome, Ashton. Great to have you here. So we don't have a free market anymore because we used to be able to vote with our dollars. We used to be able to vote with where we worked at. If somebody was treating so it's like a company comes into town and they only offer jobs at $30,000. Well, what good is that job? What good is that job if the people who are working those jobs can't afford? So the corporate landlords is my favorite thing. Right now, we need to come together. We can't just rise up and fight them right away. So how do we come together? So we're already giving out these free stickers. I say we get one that is specifically for corporate housing, corporate landlords, where if you live in a building owned by a corporate landlord, we will put a box on the website, check the I live in a corporate owned facility, and then just stick a sticker up somewhere. It'll be like the sticker of shame. Go to the link in the bio, sign up, because this is what we need. We need to come together. And it's not going to be just all of us screaming right away, because that's how they shut us down. That's how they get us. It's got to be all of us doing small acts. It starts off with shared language. They're not the billionaires, they're the hoarders. It moves into shared acts. I want it to be so that every single time somebody sees a corporate owned landlord building, a Blackstone building, that we slap a sticker up on there so everybody can see it. Because that's what we have to do first, is show people that we are on the same side. We are 100% aligned with General Strike. We know all of their leaders, and this isn't a single movement. This is 1,000 movements that know this is the moment for community, because community is the opposite of greed. So we are building a civic force. It's not just going to be us. It's not just going to be General Strike. It's not just going to be Farm Fresh. It's not just going to be People's Sick Day. It's going to be all of us coming together and saying the only way that we can grow as one, as a community, is by creating a system that can rival the rigged system. It's by showing people the way. And that is by us breaking the silence, speaking out together, breaking the fear of speaking out, because right now they are doing everything they can to make it scary. And I just saw the perfect video of essentially what is happening is hierarchy is being taken down all over the world, where whether it be employees and employers or governments, men and women, people are sick of it because we see that it is all systems that are just designed to keep us down. That's what this is about. It is systems designed to keep us down. So all of us have to come together and recognize that we are all fighting for the same thing, that the wealth inequality is the problem in America, and they've divided us for so long to try to keep us out. So that's what we are building here, a civic force. 1,000 movements that all know this is the moment, because greed is the disease and community is the opposite of greed. So we have to come together. We have to build what we need to sustain us, because what we need to ask ourselves is what fuels their greed. What fuels their greed? It's our hard work, right? We are the ones that are going to work every single day and fueling their greed. So we have to figure out a way to stop fueling their greed, right? But if we stop going to work, we can't afford food, we can't afford housing, we can't afford healthcare. So we need to figure out a way to build those systems for ourselves while we push back in a long-term sustained way. That's what we need to do. So the first step of building the system ourselves is by getting people to recognize that the issue, the purchasing power is important. We can vote with our dollars, but that's where it's difficult, because over 85% of corporations on the S&P 500 have the same 3 top shareholders. So whether we try to vote with our dollars, it's really difficult, because a lot of times, even if we go and buy local, then where is that local shop buying their inventory from, right? They're buying it most likely from mega corporation XYZ. And that's exactly what we need to do, is push back, recognize that we have to get on the same page and all come together. Because building the community is the only way that we are going to be able to get on the same page, because we have to break the silence. Right now, so many people are scared. And the way that we can break that silence is putting truth up in public, is by showing people that the problem isn't necessarily even the dragon. It's that little guy right there. And that is exactly what is going on, is that right now, a small percentage of the population control everything. They are the ones in charge. They control the media. They control the economy. They control the all this stuff. So yeah, absolutely, Zen. We are more than welcome to do that. I had nothing to do with anything that happened with the deleting. That is other people's thing, because I am just simply here trying to help fill the gaps. Where if you see Isaiah has not been going live as much, Isaiah has not been doing as consistent. So we're just trying to keep the momentum going. And then all that we try to do is we said, hey, we got so much momentum going, we should try to build off of this. And it took a while to get the emails, and it didn't end up working out. And I think that there was maybe a rash decision made, but I had nothing to do with that. And what I believe is that no matter what movement is that this needs to be said. This needs to keep moving forward. And I think that's what we should all do. So we are all pushing together with these free stickers. So that is what we are packing. We are sending out thousands and thousands. I think it was more because it was getting a little toxic. And the goal was to promote unity and community. And if it wasn't promoting unity and community, I think that's why he got rid of it. Because if you have something that's supposed to be helpful and it's turning into something that's not as helpful as it should have been, I agree that it wasn't the right move. But again, I'm not in charge. So all that happened was, Joker, I'd love to talk to you about it. I know that you're upset. But remember, a couple Fridays ago, you all came and said that there were some issues. I was happy to address them. Not 2 days later, you all went to Isaiah and didn't, want to be a part of it anymore. But I don't get how that was allowing us to address it. It was kind of like, hey, there's this issue. Yeah, and then Isaiah literally came to y'all and said, hey, if you have a problem, then you really, I was the one helping with a lot of that stuff behind the scenes. So if you've got a problem, we're happy to talk about it. But, I don't think that's the best decision. And I believe everybody on that call agreed and said, okay, Isaiah, we get it. If there was more that you needed to have, I believe that phone call was the conversation to make it happen. And I thought you had reached out to some people and said that, you weren't a part of this anymore. So it just is strange. And that's all I think that really happened is I am willing to bend over backwards. A lot of times if somebody says, hey, Corey, we need you to jump, I'll say how high. And that's really what happens. So, well, I think Isaiah was kind of the one that started it and has the vision moving forward. And that was, so that's where, and once again, I think that if we all really care about the movement, we would kind of put our feelings aside and say like, hey, yeah, this is important, but let's have a discussion anytime you want to. I'm sure I made tons of mistakes. That's really, I'm a human being. I was just trying to come in. I was trying my very best to respect Isaiah. No, I am at fault. I will 100% put it down. But I don't think that, when we're all basically on a team together, that's really what this is, right? We're all on a sports team together and we're all aiming towards the same goal. Now, maybe I had done some things wrong and incorrect, and I will absolutely, take responsibility for that. But I also still just have the team goal in my mind. That's all it really is that we have an overarching goal to spread the message that greed is the disease. You need to reorganize your life around that idea and recruit others. And I think that if we need to just kind of go ahead and get those three things as the top priority, that's what really matters. And if there needs to be some kind of rearrangement, let's do it. But even right now, just show that the movement is the most important. And all we're trying to do. So my only goal is what I'm doing every single day is trying to get these free stickers out there, because I think that putting the truth in public is one of the most important things. I think it's so scary for people out there nowadays. And just with so much going on. And I think if they see people wearing black on Friday, they hear about this movement, if they see stickers around their neighborhood, they will understand that, hey, people are pushing back, but we can't. So it kind of goes down to this. So in order to actually have an impact, we need to push back long term, right? Greed is the disease. What fuels their greed is our hard work. So in order for us to not work for a sustained amount of time, we have to then build the systems that we need. The only way we can build those systems is by building a community. It's by all of us coming together and saying, hey, just like we come together in times of need, in times of an emergency, when, there are floods or natural disasters, and we all kind of make it work. That's exactly what it is. So I'm a business owner. I don't know what that has anything to do with it. I appreciate it. So I've got 31 employees. And part of why I'm so passionate about this is that, other people do work for me. They go to my job, get work done, make sure it's all there. So Purple, hello, good to see you. We build a community by getting people, basically, it's inciting a culture shift. It's understanding that there's not 1,000 different issues going on in America, that there is one single issue, and that is greed. Greed is the disease. So that's kind of the common goal that Tony's talking about right now, that we're trying to come together and go. It's like, hey, the biggest problem is that billionaires and politicians like throw their hands up and they're like, oh, there's so much going on in the world. There's so many difficult things. Look at all these problems we have to fix. It's not us perpetuating these problems. This is just really hard. Meanwhile, they have all the money, all the resources. They're dragging their feet on fixing the problems. And so they tell us, well, there's this problem with foreign wars. There's this problem with climate change. There's this housing issue. There's this healthcare issue. There's these salary issues. And it's not. Really, there is one major issue in America, and it's greed. Greed is the disease. Everything else we see is a symptom. So that's the common goal that we are trying to rally around. Because right now, that's why they have identity politics, right? To make us so that all of us can, are on different pages fighting over different things. Well, Zen, it's not the problem that people have money. It's that when they exploit others to get it. And that's really the issue, because there are so many employers that kind of just pay market rate or pay less than what it costs for housing, pay less than what it costs for food. And if a job is paying less than what it costs for housing, then that company is a net detriment to society, right? Because they're like, hey, come work for me, come spend your time and resources working for me. but we're not even going to pay you enough to live. And that is the real issue. Well, mutual aid is kind of what happens all the time. That is us coming together when, rural communities actually have some of the best mutual aid. Tony tells a great little story where it's about, when Carol and Dave are having a rough go of it, and even though they didn't tell anybody, a casserole shows up at their door. Maybe a couple 20s are in the mailbox. Some friends show up with some drinks and food. And it's really just being there for people. And it's understanding that all of us together, recognizing that other people are the reason that we're here, and supporting them, being there for them the best that we can is that mutual aid. But right now, they just make it so difficult. Really, they've gotten rid of all the systems that provided that mutual aid. Absolutely no name, because it used to be that we were more connected, right? But now we go to all the different, we're all in our own cars. We barely say hi to our neighbors. We don't need stuff. It's like, that's really what it is. It's like the corporations told us that depending on others was bad. And it like, all these lies that they tell us have this little bit of truth in them. I agree, Zen. All these lies have this little bit of truth in them. Like, yeah, sometimes asking too much from people is bad, but really asking a little bit is what creates that community, right? And it's so insidious because they, already control the economy. They control the political process, and then they use the media to lie to us. And that's exactly what it is. Because what we believe is that greed is the disease. In order to push back against that greed, we need to push back long term. Well, the only way we're going to push back long term is if we build the systems we need to be able to stay away from work long term. Well, right now, we are so divided that we are not going to be able to come together in the way that we need, especially in terms of pushback. So essentially, blackout the system are mini general strikes. They are ways that we can all learn to push back together while building up to large scale pushback. Because Polaris, the way I look at it is like this. Rather than starting with a full-on general strike, let's target one company. Let's figure out how to get one company's employees, this one company that's hurting all of us. How do we get that one company's employees to stop going to work? Yes, that's exactly what it is. So right now, the blackouts are a strategy to get people into the community, because that's the first goal. Break the silence, form this group. And the only way we can break the silence is enough of us together saying the same thing. So the initial goal of the blackout, we understand that it's going to be really hard to take down this economy with the blackout. What we're going to do is we're going to have as many blackouts as we need to get as many people on our side till we build a community large enough to rival the rigged system. And as we come together more and more, we're going to be having workshops. We're going to be going over information. We'll have more people on here that teach us all the skills that we need. Like Farm Fresh 24/7 is a huge company a huge organization that we are already working with that is focused on food sustainability, food security, systems, different things like that. Their app is so incredible. That is one of the things that we can all do right now. So we got a couple different things. We've got Hey Neighbor is a fantastic organization that is all about building community, that is about turning your neighborhood into a community. Then after that, we've got Farm Fresh, where this isn't just for farmers. This is for anybody that makes anything. If you like to knit, you can put your stuff on there. If you like to make pies, you can put your stuff on there. If you are painting fences, you can offer your stuff on there. That's exactly what we need, because it's basically this bartering tool for goods, services, food, all that. And now imagine, we all get together on these workshops every single weekend. We got 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 people on these calls. Then we have all 10,000 people go on and we say, look, we need the makers, we need the homesteaders, we need the people with chickens just to go on Farm Fresh 24/7, put your goods and services on the app. This is how we grow that community. So that is exactly what is happening. So we are Haya, we are going to be on YouTube. We're going to be on Instagram is our another big one that we are on. But we are on all the major socials because we understand the uncertainty surrounding this platform. And we got to talk about their control of the media, y'all. There's a reason that Musk bought Twitter. There's a reason that Larry Ellison just bought TikTok, that Bezos bought Washington Post, that other guy bought the LA Times, because they understand that the only way they can keep this system in place is by lying to us. Because if we weren't constantly lied to, if we weren't constantly divided, every single one of us would be like, F this. I am figuring out a way, to not participate in this system. And what we are seeing right now, that's where, Tony, I just watched that one guy's video and it was so good, but he's like, the boomers are the ones that have been indoctrinated the most to believe in that hierarchy. That's exactly what this is. It is the destruction of hierarchy across all of our institutions. Economically, let's democratize the workplace. The patriarchy, religion, even control of government and, all that kind of stuff. I've got to get going real quick, Tone. And I feel, it's just a little bit different here. I got to just double check, that it's cool, and all that. I'm sure everybody would be fine with it. Well, I appreciate that, Ches. So what you do, if you are loving what we are saying, go ahead, sign up for free stickers. Make sure to join and subscribe, because we are building that community. And what I eventually would love to see would us be having community groups where it starts as this one big group, and we all are talking about this same type of thing. We talk about the issues, the problems, the things we can do to fix it, the different organizations that we've partnered with. And then eventually maybe we can make those regional community groups and then maybe state by state community groups. And that's exactly how we build the systems that we need to replace the current system. Absolutely. The Purple Revolution is actually somebody that we have been looking forward to reaching out to once we heard about them, because it's all kind of the same goal, right? Our line that we say is we need coordinated national pushback for maximum local impact. So it's like essentially everybody gets free stickers and goes and puts them up, but then everybody does what their area needs the most. And that's exactly what this is. But that's where we are very much looking forward to hopefully connecting with the Purple Revolution, because our whole idea is to build a civic force. It has to be 1,000 movements that all know this is the moment, that all know that community is the opposite of greed. Yes, Kala, the stickers are on the website. And that's what this really is. It's just literally recognizing that community is the opposite of greed. And that's what we're trying to do. We are all just humans. We are going to make mistakes as we try to build this community. Lord knows I have made many. But we also just have to come and say, hey, can I have some forgiveness? Can I have some empathy? Because we're all humans. We're all trying our best. And I view it so much like a sports team, right? Where maybe somebody took a shot at the goal and that wasn't the right time to take a shot at the goal. But you don't get mad at that person. It's just kind of like, hey, they were doing their best. But what about next time we do it this way? And you all work together to make it better next time, right? That's what it really is all about. Well, that's part of the reason, Omar. They don't understand the power of community because they never had it. That's the real truth. So many of these people grow up with the, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who the they is there, barely. So many people grew up without a community and not understanding its power. And that's exactly, no, not at all. I think what we're saying is that both sides do it, that left or right. Doesn't matter, that they're both good cop, bad cop, basically, but they work for the same corrupt system. And that unless we realize that it's the overarching rigged system that causes all the problems that are always perpetuated underneath, that we'll never be able to fix it, because we're going to be worrying about the symptoms rather than the disease. I believe, I think that's about it. So I wouldn't say the one half. I would say basically all entrenched powers are trying to get rid of minorities, because minority groups understand that the system is rigged, and it doesn't take them having to open their eyes, because they hear it from their parents, their grandparents, all this kind of stuff. I have 2 daughters, and they're going to hear their whole life how you are going to have to fight harder, longer, and stronger because you are a woman. And I think that these minority groups have been oppressed their entire existence. So, especially individual groups that are passed down familially, they are very much like, hey, this game is rigged. You don't have to deal with it. And so they realize it's not rigged. So that's why that's the great way to put it. The minority groups never had the blinders on. So that's why they are oppressed so hard. Because if they weren't oppressed and they were allowed to speak up, they would take the blinders off of everybody else. And I think that's exactly what is happening in our country. Thank you, No Name. Is that everybody is starting to take off the blinders and we're all recognizing it. And what we're saying is, hey, here's how you can put get more people to take their blinders off. It's not that we think we're going to take down the whole system with blackout the system. It's that we think this is the way to get more and more people to take their blinders off. Alrighty, y'all, I got a meeting. I got a hard stop today at 11. There we go, Polaris Party. That's where I love my little children so much. So, but there you go, No Name. That's exactly what happened is, and it's like the people that were told to put their blinders on as children that don't know that they're wearing blinders, we can't get mad at them. No, the answer is really simple. It's by coming together and inciting a culture shift. We need to break the silence to break the fear. Once we break the silence, we will break the fear. Right now, we all feel that there's this little crack in the dam is forming. The reason that we are breaking the silence is because the more we speak, the more that crack in the dam gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Then when we go from breaking the silence to breaking the fear, well, breaking the mother effing fear is like when that dam breaks and the water comes on in. So yes, No Name, that's exactly what it is. It is one by one. We have to understand that the system is like a giant brick wall. If we come in with a sledgehammer, if we come in with a wrecking ball, the system is designed to deal with that. What we have to do is go in every single day. That is the difference. It can't be some of us giving it our all. It has to be all of us giving it some, but every single day. It's like working out, right? You don't go and work out for 24 hours and then you've got muscles and you're good to go for the next month. No, you got to work out every single day. So what we are doing is we're going to walk by coming here and doing all this. We're going to walk up to that wall with our chisel and our hammer, take out the brick that they have that's holding us down and put in the brick that we need. And all the while, we will be telling the people watching what we are doing because the recruiting aspect of this is just as important as fixing it. So yeah, I think we do know what to do. It's not the what to do. History tells us what to do. This is not the first time the bosses have gotten greedy. We just have to follow the playbook again. They're not the same, but they are good cop, bad cop. We have to understand that. They are good cop, bad cop that all work for the same system. Remember, Obama bailed out Wall Street and left Main Street to flounder. And it doesn't matter which side they are on. Well, that's what it really is that, yes, obviously people are going to have their preference, but we have to understand that this is the best way to say it. Politicians are middlemen for the billionaires. When we go and yell at the politicians, it's not like they're like, oh, let me go do that right away. They're like, oh, hey, Mr. Billionaire, are we allowed to do that? Well, that's where I think I totally get where you're coming from, Bear, where it's like, but wait, I totally see. And that's where I am trying to bring all people in. So I try to not say, yes, this side is bad, that side is not, when it is pretty clear to me that one is and one is not. That's why I do like to say they're like good cop, bad cop, right? So we got the good cop, we got the bad cop, but they both work for the same corrupt police department. Now, if that corrupt department cared for us, we'd have more housing. We'd have better paying jobs. We would have health care. All of our money wouldn't be going to foreign wars. And that's sort of what we're saying is like, so let's stop arguing about the color of the house and realize that the foundation is crumbling. So I'm a couple minutes after time here, everybody. Appreciate you all being here so much. Love you all so much. We have to all come together, understand that greed is the disease. So let's all do our best to Recognize that that is the problem. Reorganize our life the best that you can. We're not asking you to do everything. Just do what you can and make sure we got to recruit others. All right, everybody, have a good one. Bye.